Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Art Speak Online, organized by the Ateneo de Manila, Ateneo Art Gallery, the University Museum of Ateneo de Manila University. I'm Boots Herrera, Director and Chief Curator of the Ateneo Art Gallery. Today's topic brings us to a conversation outside of contemporary art practice, but was instigated by an ongoing art installation project here on the grounds of Arete in the Ateneo campus. Leroy New, the third recipient of the Ignacio B. Jimenez Outdoor Installation Grant Program, has been working on site with his team for the installation titled Mebuyan's Colony. The project began before the lockdown, but the pandemic gave the work another dimension to its meaning as it brings in the increased interest in planting, gardening, and agriculture in personal and communal levels. We have been fortunate that the project drew support from the agriculture sector, thus creating an interdisciplinary collaboration. Special thanks goes to Jose Felix and Dexter Difuntorum for their assistance in bringing together our collaborators who are represented in today's panel. We are grateful for the support of Ramgo, Farm Ready, and OCROP. Before we begin with the presentations, we would like to share a video of Leroy New's Mabuyan's Colony.
My name is Leroy New. I am an artist and designer. I do mostly large-scale interactive structures and spatial constructions in public spaces, but also in different interior spaces. My work also moves in between different creative industries, from film to theater to performance to product design and costuming and fashion. I called the installation Mebuyan's Colony. Mebuyan is a goddess of death and fertility in Bagobo mythology. She is described as having breasts all over her body because in their cosmology, spirits of the deceased still have to continue on a journey in the afterlife, as well as the spirits of dead children. So she has to nourish them in order for them to grow into adult spirits so they can continue on to their journey. So in that sense, the colony, these pods, are references to her appearance, and the pods are also spaces for transformation in the same way that she helps transforms these spirits of children into adult spirits, into spirits that are capable of continuing on a journey. Well, the work is inspired by many different sources that I've encountered in my life. I am fascinated with pre-colonial mythology, along with sci-fi culture, visions of the future and how it is imagined, and how this genre relates to me specifically as a Filipino. So the work itself is a confluence of all these different fascinations of mine, as well as my attempt to integrate current issues through it being a platform for me being able to collaborate with different specialists like environmental scientists, performance artists. I hope that this work becomes an occasion for all these different ideas to come together. The work was conceptualized pre-COVID. The concepts, the themes, and ideas are similar still, but there was a renewed and extra focus on this idea of integrating agricultural systems into the structure, as well as using discards, material discards, as a viable structural material for the installation. So in this case, we are using plastic bottle discards, reconfiguring them as transparent, translucent cladding for these pods. In a way, it will resemble a kind of elevated greenhouse. We'll have agricultural systems integrated into the structure as well. Everything will be exposed and visible for people to learn from how the system works. I'm working with Jose Felix, who is an environmental scientist, who will help me determine how to integrate all these different systems into the different pods. The different pods will highlight different ideas related to agriculture, will showcase different approaches and strategies for contemporary agriculture.
Here, we want to showcase biotechnologies like growing different plants and adapting to climate change and the weather, and also making the lives of the farmers easier in terms of their labor, in terms of operations, by giving them simple engineering techniques like drip irrigation.
We'll be growing food inside, in the interiors of the pods, as well as the exteriors of the pods. In theory, by the end, there will be a second layer of organic material that envelopes the structure. I think it's important to showcase how artists can join in the fight of providing viable solutions. In the case of this particular work, I am offering it up to different collaborators. There's a point where it ends, where my involvement diminishes, and it is passed on to the people are invited to use it. I want to open it up to different ways of engagement and activation. During the pandemic, there was this kind of renewed awareness of food security and scarcity of resources and how people self-organize to feed their communities. This is kind of like inspired by all those things that has happened in the past. I myself was part of this local community pantry in our village, led by a group of artists as well. And during the start of the pandemic, me and a lot of my peers in the creative industry converted their studios to create PPEs, improvised PPEs. After all that, there's this spirit where it's not just about making beautiful individual art objects anymore. It's about highlighting these ideas that are important to us. Hence, the desire to open up the platform to not just showcase my work myself, but also it becomes a platform for all these different collaborators that I'll be working with. So it's not just one environmental scientist, like I'm also meeting someone who is engaged in growing mushrooms, and then people who are part of seedling banks. It's growing, and I hope that it highlights the need to discuss these issues that directly relate to benefiting the communities that we move in, that we live in.
Okay. Today's Art Speak Online is a celebration of Earth Day 2022 with the theme Invest in Our Planet. We are called to take action towards a greener future. This requires a concerted effort between governments, businesses, and citizens from different walks of life to collaborate towards the goal of preserving the beauty of our planet. Improving and mitigating the effects of our food systems to the environment requires change at all stages of our food production, from production, consumption patterns, and waste management. Everyone is involved in food systems, and together we can work towards a greener and sustainable future for our planet. The participants and collaborators in Leroy News Mabuyan's colony are deeply ingrained in the agriculture industry, from providing seeds and products suited for the Philippines, efficiently producing vegetables in farms that Filipinos eat daily, to providing nutritious alternative staple food for Filipinos. Mebuyan's colony thus becomes a vehicle for collaboration between players in the food supply chain to showcase the beauty of agriculture integrated in art. Our session's moderator for today is Jose Felix. He is an environmental scientist who has worked in research and development of different technologies and practices of agriculture. He started from developing low-cost aquaponic systems that could be used to feed small communities to commercial agriculture that employs sustainable practices like precision agriculture and controlled environment agriculture. Currently, he is the president of May Adlay Agriculture Incorporated, which operates multiple commercial farms for Adlay and does research into improving protocols for different kinds of crops through the use of technology. So, Felix, welcome to today's session, and we look forward to an engaging conversation with the panelists. Thank you for
Hi.
joining us today. Thank you for moderating the session. So we can begin with the session proper.
All right. So thank you, Ma'am Boots, for the introduction. And of course, thank you to Leroy New for providing us with a location of showcasing all the different practices that we have and different participants that we have today. So first up, we have Pepoy Songko. So Calle Luntian, Pepoy is representing Calle Luntian, which is a commercial farm that produces high quality lettuce for beloved brands like Salad Stop, Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, Juju Eats, Soban, and more. They focus on producing lettuce all year round in greenhouses from Alfonso, Cavite. They have been successful. They have been a very successful farm in the area, developing their own technologies and practices, as well as accepting research partnerships from company like RegSwan. Pepoy is an entrepreneur and a researcher who has developed our current practices of precision agriculture and technological applications for agriculture to improve labor efficiency. His technology has improved yields in our farm for more than twice the average yields in the region, with a reduced cost of growing per kilogram of lettuce by around 57%. So let us all give a warm welcome to Pepoy Songko, our partner, and yeah.
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. Happy Earth Day. Tama ba, Felix? Happy Earth Day.
Yes, it's Earth Day.
And I've been invited today to talk about sustainable agriculture from our perspective, based on our experiences. Thank you for the introduction, Felix. He gave us a brief history of the farm where I belong in. It's Calle Luntian. Our original business model was really B2B, as Felix mentioned, to supply restaurants, hotels, and other requirements. Recently, we just ventured into the retail segment as well. Our brand is called Today's Harvest, and hopefully we could expand along with the different partners. So sustainable agriculture. I think one of the key elements that kept us going to this date is really being aware and being familiar with the needs of our ecosystem, the ecosystem of our crops. We realized na if you preserve or even improve the ecosystem, in our case, which is soil, we use drip irrigation. We do soil. We realized that if you preserve the integrity of your soil, the quality of your soil, the crops will really reflect it. We have a saying in the farm na instead of feeding the crops, what you do is you feed the soil. So how did we come about this? How did we come about contributing to preserving, maintaining the ecosystem of our crops? Honestly, it was purely accidental. Our main concern was really solving production problems in the farm. We did our research. We, as Felix mentioned as well, we also partnered with a few industry leaders to conduct research in our greenhouses. One thing we found out was one thing that we noticed, Kamo, was that the intensive use of fertilizer. And we realized na grabe yung not only yung gastos, but the effect as well sa soil, the residue that's left, the reconditioning cycle namin. Kasi we recondition the soil to keep it healthy. It pa-shorten yung cycle. So we did our own research. We did our own study, and for years, until we finally came up with the system that we call microdosing. It's a system that I think I can say that we really came up with sa farm lang. Just to give you a brief idea on what microdosing is. It's feeding the plant or the soil the optimal amount of nutrients na they require at certain stages of its life. We don't overfeed. We try to be as precise as possible, even though it's not really possible. We try to be as precise as possible, just to feed the soil, the plant, the optimal requirements that is needed lang, including water. Including water. Too much can also be damaging, not only for the plants but for your area as well. So with the microdosing that we came up with, some of the huge benefits we noticed were, of course, the reduce in cost of production, and then again, the accidental part, which is from an environmental perspective. We used less fertilizer, so chances of it seeping sa water table is very low, because almost I would say almost 90% of what we put is always utilized instead of being leached into the soil. Also, you can see that the soil is much healthier. Our reconditioning cycle became longer, meaning hindi nabubugbog yung lupa. Also, I believe that it's a reflection of what others think when you talk about agriculture. When agriculture and the environment, as it relates to the environment. Like all these agronomic practices, such as yung palm oil, yung tubo, corn. There are practices pa rin talaga that really contributes to damaging the environment. Lalo na yung burning. Dito here in the Philippines, the burning of tubo is just is still ongoing. Is still ongoing sa Negros and other areas. So with what we had is microdosing. The reduction, our practices led to the reduction of using so much fertilizer. And then I believe that keeping our soil healthy is really one of the things that has made us sustainable sa Tagaytay as a farm. Especially even during the pandemic, that a lot of farms were really affected. Not only the pandemic, but Taal. So keeping our costs down, that was our main focus. But the consequence, which is a healthier soil, less ang exposure ng farmers mo to quote-unquote chemicals. I believe keeping the microsystem healthy is one of the key elements talaga. Also as to why agriculture, because it will never be gone. It will never go away. We need to entice the younger generation to be involved. With the proper mindset, with the proper intent, I believe that they or even us will come up with solutions that will have that can help multidisciplinary problems, not just financial, not just social, also environmental. But yeah. That's again. I'd like to close this short talk lang by saying that you feed the soil, keep the soil healthy, and it will reflect in your crops. Thank you.
All right. So thanks, Pepoy, for the talk and introducing Kalye Luntian and the farm. Sila Pepoy have been in the industry for more than how many years? I think
since 2014.
Yeah. So I really started my own research with Sila Pepoy, developing aquaponic systems, and yeah, it's been successful, and now it's been applied in commercial farms like his. So very, very insightful, and they are also one of the most successful farms in the area. So we could definitely learn a lot from what they have and what they have presented. So yeah, thank you, Pepoy, for the talk and for the insights that you have. All right, so our next speaker would be from Farm Ready. So Farm Ready GG Seedling Corporation is a subsidiary of East West Seeds Philippines Incorporated. They're the first professional and largest seedling nursery in the country. They're also what I consider one of the most innovative companies in the industry. Farm Ready was established to support horticultural practices by providing healthy, safe, and quality seedlings for agricultural production that farmers could rely on for year-round supply of planting material. So one of the major challenges that we have for agriculture is really, since we're always hit by storms and typhoons and climate change, they always have seedlings ready to plant that will support farmers that are damaged by all the typhoons that pass by. So today we are joined by Josephine Ramos, which is one of their assistant production managers for Farm Ready, and also they helped us plant the plants in Arete. And they went above and beyond the normal um, they went above and beyond the normal setup that we have to make a very presentable and beautiful space for Arete. They also did the urban farm in BGC. So let's give a warm welcome to Josephine Ramos, or Jo.
Good afternoon. So let me share my presentation for today. So first, can you see now my presentation? Sorry. Good afternoon. So before I start my presentation, please let me introduce our company. So Farm Ready Plant Ties Seedling Corporation is the biggest and pioneer of seedling nurseries in the Philippines, established in 2008. Sets the standard of vegetable seedling quality and innovation. So as Felix said, we are a sister company of Isra Seed and a partner of Plant Ties, one of the top 3 propagators in the Netherlands. So our partnership started in 2014. So our products, we can sow different varieties of vegetables, papaya, ornamentals, depending on the farmer's request. So it's not only Isra's varieties, but also what the farmer wants. So we offer ready to plant, so 10 to 11 days seedlings for cucurbits, 27 days for tomato, and 30 days old for eggplant and peppers. So in addition, we also sell Boss Media, which is composed of a garden soil and decomposed manure. We also offer ready to harvest, which is readily available to the consumer. So we also offer ornamentals such as vinca, gerbera, petunia, marigold, angelonia, torreña, and many more. So we also offer herbs such as sweet basil, arugula, parsley, and mint. So these are most of our example of what we did in the agrotourism, where we offer our flowers, and also it's also a venue also that we cater our seedlings in this area. So we have the Girasoles farm in Candelaria, Quezon, and the Canwaling Gateway farm in Occidental Mindoro. So concept store are a go-to place for newbies to advanced farmer, offering high-quality seedlings and products that provide vegetable farming in limited areas. This is the part of the company's strategy that aims to inspire more people to engage in growing vegetables and to live healthier by consuming more vegetable. The travel restriction due to pandemics last 2 years ago and until now, so a quarantine caravan emerged to maintain the steady supply of vegetable seedlings and to ensure the food supply chain was protected in logistic challenges caused by lockdowns and other restrictions. So we also do after-sales service where we communicate with farmer the proper use of actually the pesticide. So most of the farmer that we visited, they use illegal pesticide or banned pesticide that affect our environment, especially the beneficial insects. So in our after-sales service, we communicate with the farmer the proper use of pesticides like the insecticide and the fungicides, and also to help them increase their income by controlling the proper way of controlling the diseases and insect pests in their field. So we also conducted, with the help of the East West Seed Foundation, the urban gardening workshop, like for example, the Ready Set Grow, and what we had 2 days ago, the urban gardening workshop, which we conducted in Ateneo. So we also have a CSR project where we introduce the growing of vegetables in schools. So these are the few examples of schools that we benefited this gardening program. So why agriculture? So agriculture is the art and science of cultivating the soil, growing crops, and raising livestock. It's not limited to cultivation and farming alone. It also includes dairy, poultry, and others. So the main source of materials to major industries such as cotton, sugar, tobacco, edible oils are from agriculture. And most of the main source of livelihood is farming. About 70% rely on agriculture as livelihood. So a stable agriculture, they said, ensures a nation of food security. And also, agriculture is also used for medicine. The yearly climatic variability is one of the main causes of crop yield instability, an inherent risk in farming, as crops are very sensitive to this climatic fluctuation. So these are the example of the effect of climate change in agriculture. So with the higher temperature, it decreases the productivity of the farmers, of our crops. And with the change in season, for example, with the La Nina and El Nino, it also causes the change in behavior of the insect. And the effect on rainfall and temperature can also influence how infectious the diseases are. And it causes a high cost on business operation. So what are the strategies to mitigate the effect of this climate change? So we have the water-saving irrigation management, such as drip, as mentioned by Felix before, the subsurface sprinkler irrigation system, or the overhead. So these are the example where we visited the farmer. So mostly there's an open field and also the protected cultivation. With the cultural practices that conserve water and protect crops, we use the mulching or the raised bed planting. We can also use the yami, as you can see in this picture, to conserve the water. Also, East West continues to develop a hybrid tropical vegetable, introducing off-season types vegetables such as this Diamante Max, which is as in their tagline, Max tibay sa kulot, Max kita. So this is a hybrid tomato where it has a good heat set and bred, and these are bred in the Philippine condition. And the next one is the superheat for the rain-fed areas. So sigurado sa ani at kita sa rain-fed areas, patok pa. So these are some of the varieties that developed by the East West to adapt to a wider range of climate condition. So breeding opportunities, actually there's a lot of breeding opportunities for climate change. So that's especially includes the tolerance in the abiotic stress like drought, flooding, and then disease resistance, including the emerging diseases, to improve and also to improve the shelf life and keeping quality of our vegetable crops, and to extend the growing season or the year-round adaptability. these breeding opportunities will help us to continue on our food supply chain. So also as a company, we also have this technology to improve the stress tolerance of the crop. So we have what we call the grafting. So this is a horticultural technique of joining together two different plant parts and growing them as a single part. So yung puno, yung rootstock, and then the scion, it depends on the farmer which type of crops they want to grow. So Farm Ready is selling this grafted ampalaya. So with the continuous growing of bitter gourd in the Philippines, what we call monocropping, it causes the soil to be susceptible to bacterial growth. So these are the soil-borne diseases that we call that caused by bacteria and some root knot nematode. So with this technology, we ensure better yield for the farmer and to control the use of chemicals in their field. We also introduced this grafted kamatis, which is what we call kamlong. So yung puno, yung rootstock is talong, and then the scion is kamatis. And then so we are also have some problem with the soil, like which cause the kamatis to wilt. So that's why we introduce this kamlong. Also, we have some problem also in our bottle gourd. That's why we introduced this grafted uko in the market. So yeah, actually that ends my presentation. And for some queries, you can subscribe or like our Facebook page in Farm Ready GE Seedling Corporation. So that ends my presentation. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jo, for that presentation. Thank you for the very insightful presentation on how seedling nurseries operate here in the Philippines. And also, sila Jo, one of our partners doon sa farm namin nila Pepoy, who also provided us with the tomato seedlings na may talong na grafted sa talong, which shows a lot of potential for agriculture to develop and how to address soil issues like pathogens in the soil and pests and diseases. So magaling, grabe sila Farm Ready. So yeah, thank you, Jo, for the presentation. So next up, we have Ramgo. So sila Ramgo naman are one of the largest and most well-known distributors for seeds in the Philippines. They support everyone from urban growers to commercial farms around the country. Personally, I grew up with Ramgo. When you pass by with the hardware stores and supermarkets, you would see their brand there, of course. They offer a range of agricultural products suited for both hobbyists and professional farmers alike. So si Jill naman is the specialty manager from Ramgo who supplies seeds for greenhouse productions of vegetables that end up in a lot of the salads that we eat and the restaurants that we eat in. And a lot of the seeds for the vegetables that we have on our plates. So, Jill,
Hi, Felix. Good afternoon. All right, thank you for that wonderful introduction. So it's my turn now. I'll share my screen to start my presentation. Can you see it now? Can you see my screen now, Felix?
Yes, we can see it.
All right, thank you. Okay, so good afternoon again. I'm Jill from Ramgo International Corporation. So thank you for that introduction, Felix. Now let me start my presentation by introducing Ramgo. So who is Ramgo? Ramgo International Corporation, or Ramgo Seeds for many, was established by the late Ramon Ong in 1967. Because during that time, he noticed that our Filipino farmers always look for a reliable source of high quality seeds at the most economical price. Ramgo has since taken the challenge of the varying trends in the seed industry business, particularly the introduction of hybrid vegetable seed varieties. Ramgo has an ongoing research program to screen and test newer and better vegetable varieties to enable our Filipino grower and make his produce compete in the global market. So presently, Ramgo is being run by its president and CEO, Ms. Pamela Chan, the eldest daughter of Mr. Ong. So the Philippine market has recognized Ramgo Seeds as the largest and most reliable distributor nationwide. We constantly strive to serve and work for the Filipino growers by supplying high-quality packed seeds, garden inputs, and supplies that will increase their yield and grow better crops for the best possible financial returns. So just to share with you, these are the Ramgo seed brands that we offer and cater from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. We have our own Ramgo seed brands. We have Rushmore, Maharlika, Makita for flowers and other vegetable seed crops. We are also partnered with Bayo and the Growth and Slot from Holland and Taki of Japan. So now we go to home gardening. Home gardening, or what we call urban gardening, is the practice of cultivating and producing vegetables in urban areas. So it helps in bringing nature back to the city and provide access to healthy homegrown fresh vegetables, lessening carbon footprints that helps save our planet. May it be small backyard, community gardens, or container gardens, they are known to provide social, economical, and environmental benefits in urban areas. So Ramgo Seeds, being the pioneer and leader in urban home gardening, ensures that all gardening materials, including seeds, media, pots, garden tools, crop nutrition, and crop protection products are within your reach. So that being said, we make sure that we are present in most or if not all the leading supermarkets, grocery stores, and hardware stores nationwide. So from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Samples of our product displays that you can see in the modern trade section or in the supermarkets are shown here. So we have different seed crops, vegetable, herbs, flowers. We also serve different growing media such as coco peat, soilless potting mix, peat moss. We have different types of pots, seedling trays, crop nutrition, and crop protection products. So today we are celebrating the Earth Day 2022 with the theme Invest in Our Planet. So for the past 50 years, we are celebrating this event in coming together to create awareness in saving our planet. So you may ask, why agriculture? As Ms. Jo mentioned earlier, agriculture is a science and art of cultivating the land, raising crops and livestock. It plays an important role in helping save our planet. I recently saw a data from the internet that in the United States alone, last 2020, agriculture accounted for 11% of the total greenhouse gas emission, primarily from cultivating land and raising livestock. So agriculture, even as an individual or in our own little ways, we can add to the movement of doing something in return for a healthy environment and livable future for our kids and future generation. So let me share with you some useful tips for our home gardeners and hobbyists that you can do to mitigate the climate change and add to this movement of doing something in return for our planet. So first, water conservation. As we all know, water is our most precious resource. and making sure that you're not using too much of it is critical in keeping our ecosystem healthy and balanced. So in your garden, before you water, you can dig a small hole, probably about 2 to 3 inches, fill it with your finger if the soil is moist, and if it is, watering can wait. Also, what you can do is collect rainwater, especially during rainy season, in a rain barrel or other container to water your plants instead of using water from the faucet. Additionally, you can use cocoa cubes and cocoa chunks. So these products absorb and hold water to increase moisture retention. Also, they can be used as substitute for pebbles for aesthetically pleasing appearance, making it more earthy. Help prevent unwanted grass or weeds, and also you can use this as support for the roots of some tropical plants like orchids. For plantitos and plantitas out there, you can use this. Next, we want to promote, or before we are also promoting this, recycle plastic bottles and containers. So reducing carbon footprint, or what we now call footprint, of the vegetable you buy or you eat. Sounds cool, right? So why not try planting easy to grow vegetables in recycled containers at home? We have this RamGrow guide for container gardening, where you can plant your own vegetables in your backyard, even in a small areas, using different recycled pots. You can have your own salad, plant lettuce, different types of herbs, even flowers for that matter, in recycled bottles, even in tires, you can do that. So plastic waste is a major cause of environmental damage. Help fight against plastic by recycling it in your own garden. You can even get more creative with old plastic containers, like using an old ice chest or ice cube tray to start your seedlings. Also, we want to promote the use of organic pesticides. We have this new product named Parker Neem Tonic 100%. It is 100% organic natural pesticides. It is safe to use around wildlife, around pets, organic. It is biodegradable. It doesn't create death zone as other insecticides can. You can use it to control insects at all stages of development, effectively controls hundreds of insect pests, and of course, they're all beneficial, or they're beneficial, and the earthworms won't be harmed. Last but not the least, companion planting. So even plants, they need companion. Planting vegetables of similar kinds that are beneficial to each other when grown side by side. So for example, we have here eggplant. Eggplant can be planted together with tomato and pepper because they belong to the same Solanaceous family, or the nightshade family. So try to do companion planting whenever possible to help your garden thrive without having to use extra resources. As we always say, try to do more with less to help save the world we live in. So as a company, RamGrow International Corporation is invested in fulfilling its business objectives as follows. So for the farmers, best possible financial returns, well-founded faith, trust, and peace of mind in the germination, vigor, adaptability of RamGrow seeds, and the salability of the vegetables they will produce. For the Filipino home gardeners, easy to plant seeds that produce beautiful plants and nutritious vegetables that provide fulfillment and promote a healthy lifestyle. And for Filipino vegetable consumers, better health from better nourishment via increased vegetable consumption. Our mission in RamGrow is to constantly bring the world's best high-quality seeds to the Filipino farmers and render as much service as possible for the betterment of our Filipino growers. All right, that ends my presentation. Thank you very much. Back to you, Felix.
All right. So thank you, Jill. Thank you, Jill, for that very informative presentation. And yeah, thank you for introducing me as a young farmer to yeah.
There's a lot
Ramgo
more to
talaga.
come, yeah.
So Ramgo talaga. I grew up with Ramgo, and yun yung una kong natanim sa buhay ko. So
Good to know.
Yeah, and also yung Parker neem nila, we use sa farm namin sa Calle Luntian with Pepoy. Um, so yes, thank you, Jill, for the wonderful presentation. And yeah, so let's move on to our last speaker. So sila Ocrop naman. Ocrop is the #1 brand for Adlai rice in the Philippines. They provide high quality and healthy staple food for the Filipino households while supporting farmers at the same time. So even yung farm namin, naka-contract farm sa kanila. And they are very supportive in agricultural produce and in the production side of while still producing healthy and nutritious staple food for Filipino households around the country. So, and also, of course, they've started exporting na rin, and they're a growing brand which you guys will very much hear of. So Diane is their brand manager who will be presenting the brand and the company. And welcome. Let's give a warm welcome to Diane.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Felix, for the introduction. Okay, so I'll just be sharing my screen. There. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so good afternoon again, everyone. So I am Diane Gundaya. I am the brand manager of Ocrop, and I'll be sharing with you more about the brand and the superfood that has been recently gaining more popularity in the Philippines. So when rice becomes better, of course, we all know that Filipinos love their white rice. I mean, who doesn't, right? A Filipino meal wouldn't be complete without white rice. It's the center of the plate in every household. However, white rice in excess can be really detrimental to one's health, especially those who have diabetes. So this afternoon, I'll be introducing to you something better than rice. So just a brief introduction. So Ocrop, it's an agricultural brand that provides top-tier organic and locally grown adlai. So as you can see from the brand name itself, Ocrop is a really fun and healthy brand because we want to impart the message that healthy doesn't have to be boring and bland. It should be fun and full of energy. So, so you probably heard Adlai before, especially now during the pandemic. It has been really gaining much popularity. So, Ocrop is actually founded during 2020, around 2020, during the height of the pandemic. It is founded by a group of vagabonds who either has a diabetic in the family, has an overweight relative, and those who are just plainly seeking to live a more healthier lifestyle. So Ocrop is built on three pillars, namely health, home brand, and social impact. So the first one is health, and you've probably heard this word so many times. Of course, with the current pandemic, taking care not only ourselves but also our loved ones is really crucial. Of course, boosting our immune system and protecting our virus on the loose. Actually, this pandemic really pushed people to become more health conscious. And be conscious on what they eat. And more people are looking for alternatives to our everyday meals. So we at Ocrop is committed in catering to this market and making them switch to Ocrop, which is like rice but better. And then second is home brand. Um, Ocrop as a brand that is purely Filipino. a brand that people search for and provides only the best for them. Um, yeah, I mentioned a while ago, Filipinos love their white rice, but we also want to impart the message that there is a better alternative to white rice that can provide them with more nutrients, but also tastes more like the white rice that we all love. And then third, and definitely not the least, is social impact. So we at OCROP have closely worked and continuously working with different agronomists and local farmers all over the Philippines to provide high quality Adlai rice to the market. We also have our own OCROP farm, and then compared to other brands, we make sure that we compensate our farmers more than average industry standard, because we think that they really deserve more. And the O-croppers, which we call our farmers, are the real heroes talaga behind the brand. O-crop wouldn't be O-crop without them. Currently, we have 51 O-cropper families, and we are still growing. So OCROP currently has two SKUs. So we have the 1 kilogram Adlai and then the 5 kilogram Adlai. So you might be asking, no, why should people make the switch to OCROP Adlai, and where did it came from? So just a quick background, Adlai actually has become the staple food of many indigenous people in the Philippines. Before, not all are really familiar with this type of grain. But during the pandemic, it really gained so much popularity, and it's because it's a superfood. Um, Adlai is really the perfect energy boost that will really leave you full longer. So here are just a rundown of the benefits of Okrap Adlai. So number one, it's gluten free. Um, most grains kasi have gluten, which is a protein found most grains talaga. But with Adlai, it's gluten free. Um, and then it's also good for diabetics because it has a low glycemic index, and I'll be talking about low glycemic index in the few slides later. So Adlai is also high in dietary fiber. So when we say dietary fiber, so it's more filling. So you're likely to eat less, and it also normalizes your bowel movements. Aside from this, Adlai is also high in protein and highly nutritious because it's high in minerals like iron, magnesium, and calcium. So, who is it good for? It's good for those people who have diabetes. So, since I mentioned a while ago, it has low glycemic index. So, meaning yung sugar levels are easier to control and hindi nagsaspike. Less spikes actually. And then for Weight Watchers, of course, for those who are in a diet or who wants to keep in shape. So Adlai is really perfect also. Of course, also it's perfect for the entire family. Even the young ones actually can really eat Adlai. We also recommend Adlai to the young ones also. So here's just a quick comparison between Adlai rice and then white rice. So as you can see, Adlai rice is higher, has a higher nutrient profile. So it's high in fiber, iron, calcium. It's also low in sodium and has a low glycemic index rating. So in terms of the taste, the taste is quite similar to white rice, but slightly nutty, and it has a more chewy flavor to it compared to white rice. But it's really close to white rice compared to the other grain alternatives in the market. So aside from Adlai, health buffs are also considering quinoa, health conscious, they are trying quinoa also as a substitute to white rice. However, in terms of taste and texture, it's really different from white rice. You really notice that it's not the white rice that you're always eating. Also, in terms of the price, it's more expensive. Adlay is more economical. Plus, Adlay will give you more nutrients compared to quinoa. So also, we believe that not all Adlays are made equal. So at OCROP, we make sure the quality of our Adlay is top notch. So we often describe our Adlay when cooked as fluffy, puffy, and gloriously delicious like cumulus cloud. So aside from this also, OCROP is the first Adlay brand to start its farming operations in Luzon, and we also have our aggressive plans to farm and grow Adlay nationwide. So aside from this, what really makes Adlay different compared to the other Adlay brands is that our hands-on approach. So to growing the Adlay, from careful selection of the seeds to ensuring the quality and the way that they are grown, to a meticulous post-harvest process. So basically, hashtag no bad crops allowed. So we also gained a lot of attention. A lot of celebrities have been made their switch to OCROP Adlay. So here are just some of the known personalities who made the switch to Adlay already. So aside from these Philippine celebrities, we also have Marvin Agustin as our OCROP's official brand ambassador. And he is also a co-owner of OCROP Philippines. So also recently, we expanded. During the few months, we accessed our efforts mostly in e-com, so mostly in Lazada and Shopee. But recently, we are now available in stores. So OCROP is now present in the marketplace branches in Metro Manila. But hopefully, soon we will be available nationwide. Also, recently, we partnered with UBX, so Union Bank, to help Filipino farmers. We also partnered with them to be able to further accelerate our growth, so we can strengthen initiatives and that empower farmers with the right tools and knowledge, while giving them wider access to financing. So aside from the other benefits that I mentioned a while ago, compared to the other grains, the alternative grains to white rice, Adlay is really versatile. So healthy, if Adlay is healthy, that is not boring. So versatility is a superior quality of Adlay. Actually, we have a Facebook community. It's called the OCROPers. So those people who bought Adlay usually post their recipes there and all the things that they tried using Adlay. And a lot of them really proved that Adlay can be really perfect. So anytime, so pwedeng pang dessert. So we have one customer who even shared her recipe making Adlay mango sticky rice. And then others, they made Adlay kakanin. So it's very versatile. Pwedeng dessert, pwedeng main course, anything you want. You can actually play with Adlay so that you can you can eat, it can be yummy, but also healthy at the same time and not boring. So our story plus our product resulted to almost 1,000 growth for OCRAP since our launch. So OCRAP is actually a fast-growing brand. In a span of 10 months, our sales grew immensely. And currently, OCRAP is available in stores. So here are just some of the branches where OCRAP is currently present in. So we have 5 branches of the marketplace around Metro Manila. It's also available online, Shopee and Lazada, and we also have our online partner stores like Urban Pantry, Frozen Manila, and Sunmart. And then we are also expanding internationally, and OCRAP will be soon available in Manitoba, Canada. And hopefully, we are really hoping that we'll be able to expand more to other countries as well. So dominating the AdLi market less than a year since launch, we are really happy and proud to be part of the Filipinos' fitness and health journey, one OCRAP bag at a time. So thank you. That ends my presentation.
All right. So thank you, Diane. Thank you, Diane, for that
Thank you.
presentation. Personally, I've been eating adlai rice a lot.
Yay. We actually are eating AdLi rice too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So personally, I've never eaten rice in my life. So OCRAP has done a lot for me since I don't have a lot of choices for my staple food. And yeah, si OCRAP has been a good partner to us in our new corporation with sila, in our new new corporation, and we also do research for them actually. So thank you, Diane, for that insightful presentation on your brand and the product that you guys have, and an alternative since malnutrition is really still widespread, even though agriculture is growing. We have no choice but to grow agriculture to feed the uncountable mouths in the world. So thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you to all the participants and all the presenters today. Very insightful and on how you guys presented the corporations that you guys represent and how it's very important in the agriculture industry. So now we can move to the Q&A. So maraming nahihiya pa, but here we have a question here from Loreto Apilado. How could you treat a soil back to healthy status, and how long will it take? So anyone, I guess this is addressed to everyone, so I guess everyone is free to answer. I will be personally representing Kalyaluntian and Pepoy. I am actually one half of the research partnership of Kalyaluntian, so I will be answering on behalf of Pepoy. So anyone wants to go first? We can start with Ramgo. Baka may sagot kayo sa nurturing the soil.
Thank you. Yeah, first, they're asking, how could you treat the soil back to healthy status? I think it starts with putting organic materials in the soil after you plant. Actually, we at Ramgo, we have soil conditioner products that you can use when you want to have the soil rich in organic matter. So we have that product. It's called Maxi Soil. For how long? Actually, it depends on the situation. It depends on the plants that you are planting. But in a commercial level or a commercial scale, say for example in greenhouse for lettuce, it won't take too long. Sometimes their preparation or yung land preparation nila, it will only take about 2 to 3 weeks time, and then they plant again. So but they incorporate their limestone, they put chicken manure, all that organic material to enrich the soil before planting.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Jill, for that answer. Jo, baka may sagot rin kayo dyan.
Okay, so as maybe based on my experience, as so I think to maintain the conserve the soil, I think we suggest a fallow period to stop maybe for 1 month, because if you continuously plant vegetables because normally, like for example, here in Bulacan, they plant ampalaya continuously. So normally they call the basil, and then after that they grow the grafted. So with continuous planting, it causes we will not able to conserve the soil. So we suggest to have maybe around 1 month to stop the planting for the soil to maintain its so, and also using the plastic mulch to conserve the moisture, and not applying any for example more pesticide to control the weeds. So using the plastic mulch can control the weeds and the conserve the moisture of the soil. So, and also also using the I forgot the one some use actually some I forgot the term, sorry. Some use carbonized rice hull as a filler to maintain also, and the continuous planting also cause the soil to become acidic. So they put some lime. Yeah. So actually, we tell that to the farmer na don't do continuous planting and monocropping. Maybe you can rotate the crops to, for example, from the heavy eaters, for example, corn, and then you shift to the planting of leafy vegetable that takes only 1 month, like that. So crop rotation, so that's my suggestion: crop rotation, plastic mulch, and the fallow period to maintain to conserve the soil.
Yes. All right. So, Diane, of course, as a partner farm of OCROP, I can answer for both Kalye-Luntian and OCROP. Personally, how I take care, paano ko inaalagaan yung lupa namin, ano lang yun eh, parang we always make sure na yung tinatanim namin, kung ano yung kinakain ng tanim, yun yung nalalagay sa soil. So maraming factors na naka-apekto doon sa pagtanim natin at sa pagkain ng tanim natin sa soil, sa growth ng tanim natin. So one of the things that we noticed doon sa Kalye-Luntian, sa pag-grow namin ng lettuce, very specialized kami. We practice monocropping very intensely, and we do it very efficiently because kung ano yung kinakain ng halaman, yun yung nalalagay namin sa lupa namin. So kung ano yung natatanggal ng halaman, since tayo nag-harvest tayo, nagtatanggal tayo ng biomass, ng fruits, ng gulay mula sa ating lupa, yun rin dapat ang pumasok para sa next harvest natin. Kaya sa amin, very successful pa rin ang monocropping sa amin kasi alam namin kung ano yung napapasok sa tanim at saka alam namin kung ano yung natatanggal sa lupa. So kung alam namin yun, alam namin kung ano yung kailangan naming fertilization, anong kailangan naming paglagay ng ipot, ng carbonized rice hull, and ng pag-water namin. Very kami. To be honest, hindi kami organic. Although I support Earth Day as an environmental scientist, naniniwala pa rin ako na kaya nating pagandahin ang ating lupa kahit na hindi tayo organic. Commercial agriculture does not have to be degenerative of the soil, but it could also rejuvenate and produce what is needed efficiently while still keeping the soil healthy. So doon sa Kalyuluntian, like what Pepoy mentioned a while ago, we practice microdosing. So yung microdosing technology namin, alam namin kung ano yung kinakain ng halaman at saka kung gaano karami yung kinakain ng halaman. So very crop specific siya. Talagang maraming pag-aaral ang kailangan nating gawin para malaman kung ano yung kailangan ng tanim na yon, which is also what ginagawa ng Ramgo and ng Farm Ready and ng East West and ng OCROP sa kanilang pagtatanim. So kahit na yung lupa nyo hindi maganda dahil sa, I don't know, baka nagtanim kayo ng pinya o nag-intensive rice farming kayo ng sobrang tagal na monocropping, tapos hindi tama yung yung soil nutrition nyo, talagang maayos pa rin yun sa tamang protocol na gawin. So sa amin, sa Kalyuluntian at saka sa kumpanya namin, sinusubukan namin gumawa ng bagong protocol na makatulong doon sa para maka-rejuvenate ng soil sa kahit sinong magtatanim. Sa tanong na kung gaano katagal and how long it will take to rejuvenate the soil, usually sa amin 2 buwan nakabawi na yung lupa namin. Isa lang yung sagot ko, ipot. Organic matter is something that we always forget. It's a very versatile compound in the soil that supports a lot of the nutrient uptake that plants need. So talagang kailangan natin aralin at saka unawain kung ano yung kailangan ng tanim natin at saka paano siya kumukuha ng pagkain mula sa lupa natin. So sa tanong na gaano katagal, depende. Magtanong ka ng 100 farmer kung gaano katagal, 100 sagot yung makuha mo. Pero para sa amin, mga 2 buwan o 2 cycle para sa lechugas namin, nakabawi na kami. But that will always depend on how you rejuvenate your soil. Para sa amin, unang cycle namin na alam namin pangit yung lupa namin, tinatadtaran namin ng yung mga kailangan ng lupa namin. So, yung gamit ko ng organic matter sa first cycle, mga ×2 ng normal, I use twice the amount of chicken manure to provide organic matter para doon sa tanim namin. After noon, magno-normalize at saka doon namin nakukuha yung gusto naming nutrient uptake para sa tanim, para efficient kami sa pagtanim namin and malaki kita. And it's the same thing that we employ in OCROP, and that's the same research that we do in OCROP. All right. So thank you, Loreto, for that question. And very interesting question. Malaking bagay yan para sa Earth Day and para maputuloy nating mapakain ang ating mundo. So next one, may anonymous attendee tayo. Several companies have started getting into hydroponics. How is it different from aquaponics? And what are the benefits of aquaponics or hydroponics versus soil-based? So Yes, si Ramgo and si Farm Ready have both experience in hydroponics. I'm not sure lang sa aquaponics, pero alam niyo na yan, and we can all give our answers individually. So we can start with Jo naman. Baka gusto niyo magsimula, Jo.
Okay, so for hydroponics, so if you use the solution, like you dissolve there's a component of the fertilizer. It is water soluble that the plant can easily uptake. So, but normally it's in Philippines we use the hydroponics only in was that the 1 month crop like leafy like pachoy, lettuces. But normally I haven't seen in the Philippines that we grow what's that eggplant, tomato in hydroponics. So only in the 1 month growing crops. So what is it's different from the growing of in the soil? So it takes actually hydroponics normally used it is grown in protective cultivation. So they use the greenhouses to do that, and then it's different from the soil because you need some. It's very expensive as compared to growing the soil. Yeah. So, yeah. Maybe some can only with the you need more capital actually in the hydroponics growing as compared with growing on the soil as what the regular most of our farmers doing, because it's only they normally do it broadcasting, and then they just or they will just put some rice straw and then grow it like that. It's really difficult for them actually, because if you planted for example the leafy vegetable directly on the soil, the management is really difficult as compared with the hydroponics. I think Ramdo has more experience on the hydroponics, but that's what I noticed in the Philippines. So it's really difficult if we grow the leafy vegetable on directly to the soil because of some insects like that, especially the leaf miner, as compared when we grow it in the hydroponics, the elevated one with some nutrients directly used by the plants.
Tama yan, Jo. And actually, yung tanim nyo sa nursery, pwede pa rin gamitin sa hydroponics. And I really like the answer na yung against pati ako, Jo, against ako sa broadcasting. It's very inefficient at saka nasasayang yung buto. Kung ano yung tanim na pwedeng mas maganda para sa isang tanim lang, nasasayang kasi ang dami mong tanim tas nagkakakompetensya sila. Kaya maganda rin yung model ng Farm Ready and bagay rin sa Philippine to make it more efficient. So Ramgo, I'm sure maraming experience with hydroponic farms and growers, especially in our area. Kabilang ata yung soil
Right,
sa area nyo.
Hindi naman. Some farms also do soil cultivation because it differs din talaga when it comes to the weight of the crop when you harvest, di ba? Okay,
Yes.
so first question sabi niya, the difference between aquaponics and hydroponics, right? So the difference is that aquaponics, when you do aquaponics, it involves the use of mga fish, ganyan. So parang they have like fisheries, and then on top of it, they put the sometimes styrofoam for growing leafy crops, ganyan. Whereas hydroponics, tama si Ms. Jo, mostly leafy crops are doing hydroponics, but here in the Philippines, some farms also do hydroponics for greenhouse crops such as high-value crops such as the aubergines, eggplant, tomatoes, peppers as well. So they do hydroponics. It differs in the soilless or in the soil production or cultivation in such a way that for hydro, they just use different or soilless media. For example, they use volcanic cinder, they use coco peat, sort of like those things. So, but yeah, basically they use drip irrigation system or sometimes spaghetti type irrigation system, NFT, soluble tank A, tank B, structures for the nutrition of the crops. So kaya hindi sila gumagamit ng soil is para maiwasan nila yung, kasi when you use soil, maraming microorganisms to lessen the incidence of or infection of diseases, virus, bacteria, fungal diseases, and those things. Kaya they prefer to use hydroponic system, especially for high-value crops like I've mentioned, yung medyo expensive seeds we have for peppers, cherry tomatoes, and the like. So, yun, I hope I answered his or her question.
Yes. All right. So, ako naman on my side and yes, marami nag-hydroponics and karamihan nutrient film technique yung ginagamit because that's really yun talagang karaniwan at saka widespread na ginagamit ng mga farmers. If you go to Tagaytay, a lot of the growers there of high value crops are doing nutrient film technique or NFTs, which is a type of hydroponic system. I personally started with aquaponic systems, thinking na yung aquaponics dahil galing sa pinapakain ko na yung isda, napapakain ko pa rin yung tanim ko, mas efficient dapat, 'di ba? Karaniwan, iisipin natin, mas madali yun, mas Pero sa totoo lang, hindi. It's not really the most efficient way of growing our vegetables. And it's not really applicable to growing on a commercial scale, especially on the scale of Farm Ready and East West or Ramgo. So Ramgo is very specialized in mga greenhouse varieties that we use. But for me and for Kalye Luntian, when we literally did a side-by-side experiment comparing the three different practices, which was mainly soil farming, hydroponics, and aquaponics. And we still found that soil farming is still the most efficient way to actually feed our plants and to grow vegetables. And that way, since Tagaytay naman kami, maganda na rin ang lupa namin. So, kaya naming makaka-adapt kami doon sa kailangan ng tanim namin easily. So, I would, of course, say na now the benefit of aquaponic and hydroponically grown vegetables compared to soil-based farming is really dependent on the area that you're growing in. So for aquaponics and hydroponics, maganda ang aquaponics. Maganda ang aquaponics kapag gusto mong gamitin kung may market ka na ng iyong isda, tsaka mga shrimp, or any aquaculture product, maganda siya para mag-farming. And kung ano yung filter out mo, pwede mo gamitin para sa iyong tanim, which is a very efficient way of recirculating your nutrients and making sure na kung ano yung natatanggal mo doon sa aquaculture setup mo, nagagamit mo pa rin yung nutrients na yun para sa iyong tanim. So, doon, kung ganun yung setup mo, talagang lalo na ngayon, grabe yung agritourism, di ba? And even our setup is somewhat like something that attracts people and brings people in to showcase the different kinds of growing. And it really shows that for aesthetics, I would definitely choose aquaponics because you're able to showcase a lot of different practices in one setup. Mas marami kang natututunan at natuturo. So personally, I have donated a lot of aquaponic systems to schools. Para sa edukasyon ng ating mga grade schoolers at saka mga elementary students at saka mga high school students na gusto matuto ng biology, paano magtanim, di ba? Cute eh. Cute yung concept ng aquaponics. Ang hydroponics naman, kagaya ng sinabi ni Jill, are mainly used for specialty crops na gusto mong very specific doon sa kailangan mo without damaging the soil, because mostly hydroponic systems naman are hindi nakakabit doon sa lupa. So hindi mo ginagamit ang taba ng lupa para sa iyong tanim. So they all have their benefits and their pros and cons. But personally, as Kaliluntian and as OCROP, we definitely prefer soil-based as the most efficient way to grow our vegetables. So I hope that answers your question. Grabe, ang dami pang tanong. So next question, we have another anonymous attendee. What can you do with waterlogged soil? So may farm sila sa Lucban. I'm guessing this is in Lucban, Quezon. They're blessed with a lot of water from Banahaw, as it sprouts out from many springs, and controlling the flows is very difficult. So yung lupa nila palaging basa. Even for rice production, pag tinutuyo yung soil nila, kailangan bago mag-harvest. So sa kanila hindi pwede kasi basa palagi apparently. So gusto nila ngayon mag-crop rotation in between. May seeds ba kayo that can thrive in that sort of wet condition? So I think this is very specific to East West, Farm Ready, and Ramgo. So Ramgo, baka alternate naman tayo. Kaya naman magsimula.
Sure. Sige. Thank you, Felix. Yeah, Lucban is located, right? You're right, in Quezon. So there, I believe most of the farmers or growers there are doing different crops. Like, for example, petchay, they have cucumbers, the Japanese cucumbers. They also do radish, kangkong, alugbate. So medyo marami siyang pwedeng choices na mapagpilian after rice, or if he wants or she wants to do crop rotation for that matter after the harvest of rice. I believe they can do that. Different seeds like I mentioned, petchay, pak choy, cucumbers, radish, those crops they can.
All right. So yun, magandang mga tanim yun, and talagang matakaw ang petchay natin sa tubig, kaya tama ka, Jill. Talagang kailangan ng leafy vegetables natin yun. And I would suggest the same, actually. So, Farm Ready, baka may sagot rin kayo. Jo?
Actually, waterlogged soil is really difficult. It's really difficult to grow vegetable in a waterlogged soil. So you need some canal para
Yes.
pag umuulan, doon pupunta. So especially, kunwari, magtatanim ka especially ng papaya, for example. You need talaga ng kanal para yung halaman mo hindi siya mababasa, kasi pag nabasa siya, magkakaroon ng diseases like yung PTU, yun yung mga fungus na usually problem of the waterlogged soil. Tapos yung uptake ng nutrients, marami kang apply ng nutrients pero hindi tatanggapin ng halaman kasi sobrang so ang sinasuggest ko siguro sa waterlogged soil, I suggest eggplant, talong, kasi mas strong yung root system niya para kontrolin yung sa waterlog. Kasi normally in that area sa Quezon, they plant eggplant in the especially in areas where rain-fed areas. So it means hindi ganun ka problem kung kahit waterlog yung lupa niya. mag-grow pa din si eggplant. So, ako yun lang yung suggested crop ko for now. Kasi I haven't seen the area, but not in Banahaw since it's iba yung nila yung season. For example,
Yes, microclimate kasi sa kanila actually.
yeah, oo. So may time na dito dry, sa kanila umuulan. So mas favorable sa kanila na mas maapektuhan sila nung foliar diseases kasi 'di ba? Sobrang yun yung magiging problem nila. So I think rice talaga yung pinaka kasi yun yung parang talaga ang rice naman is mas gusto niya yung may tubig siya, pero sa harvesting stage binabawasan kasi dapat dry na siya. So ang nire-recommend ko lang for now is eggplant for me.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Jo. And kami, personally, sa Kaliluntian, alam namin na very resilient yung eggplant rootstock nyo. And yeah. So, para sa akin naman, yung sagot ko, iba. Other than choosing what crops na anong pwede mong itanim doon, I would choose to still rehabilitate or adjust the soil doon sa kailangan nyo. So, since ang problema nyo ay very waterlogged kayo, maraming iba't ibang sagot ang pwedeng magawa natin para dyan. One is to mix the soil to make sure na yung tama si Jo at saka si Jill na gumawa ng kanal para doon dumalo yung tubig at saka hindi ma-waterlog yung soil natin. Kasi ang waterlogging ay talagang malaking problema sa ating rootstock and pati sa adlay and any other kind of crop that we have. Waterlogging is a very big issue that will cause a lot of pathogens at saka sakit doon sa ating tanim. Para sa akin naman, pwede rin tayo mag-aerate ng ating lupa. Depende sa ating kapital na mayroon at saka sa ating kakayahan. Hahanginan ko ang lupa ko. Sa paraan ng ganun, pwede nating mapatuyo ng mas mabilis ang ating lupa at saka mapatanggal ang anaerobic growth ng pathogens like fungi and other bacteria na nakasakit doon sa ugat ng tanim natin. So, maraming posibleng pwedeng gawin. Pero ako, I would always choose kung ano yung crop na talagang mas bagay doon sa area natin. So, we have another question. How do you educate our farmers about these new technologies? Like yung grafted plants ni Farm Ready and yung seedlings nila. What are the challenges and learnings did your respective companies gain from these interactions with the farmers? So, yan, marami tayo yan. Jo, very apt sa inyo yung tanong. Walk us through paano kayo nagsimula sa bakit nursery at saka bakit seedling ang at saka paano natin ituturo to sa karaniwang na farmers?
We started investing in the seedling nursery kasi at first yung farmer they grow the seeds directly sa soil tapos marami doon mamamatay, hindi mag-germinate lahat even though yung seeds has good germination like 90% germination pero normally ang daming waste doon. So that's seedling nursery arises. So then it helps din sa farmer na hindi niya naiintindihin na mag-produce ng seedlings. So i-prepare niya na lang yung lupa niya tapos hintayin niya kasi normally ganun, 'di ba? Before you start growing vegetable, you wait for 1 month before you plant, di ba? So if yung seedlings is readily available sa nurseries, So, ang iisipin mo na lang is i-prepare mo yung lupa. So lalo na pag especially lalo na pag mataas yung presyo ng crops, like for example, ngayon mataas ang presyo ng kamatis. Gusto mo umabot yung gulay mo, yung tinatanim mo na mataas yung presyo. So kailangan mo talaga ng seedlings kasi hindi mo na kailangan maghintay pa ng 21 days para makapagtanim nung seedling nung kamatis. So that's why doon nag-start yung farm ready. Kaya as its name itself, farm ready. So all the seedlings are readily available for the farmer. Lalo na yung experience nung Typhoon Ulysses. Doon talaga nakita namin ang advantage ng na hindi makakapag-grow si farmer, lahat nasira yung halaman nila. So by December, January, nag-increase talaga yung sales namin ng seedlings kasi syempre gusto talagang makabawi ni farmer, di ba? Na doon sa nalugi niya because of typhoon. So kailangan niya magtanim ulit. So hindi na siya maghihintay ng 1 month para lang makabawi ulit. So yun yung isa sa So how to educate the farmer on the new technologies? Actually, ang grafted seedlings is really difficult. You need some skill first. You need skill. Hindi kailangan kasi for the kamatis talong, kailangan kasi yung talong mo na dinuktong mo dun sa kamatis, hindi natutubo yung talong. Kung tumubo pa yun, it's really difficult for the farmer na tatanggalin niya pa yung talong, tapos yung parang dalawa yung tumutubo sa isang halaman. So it needs skill. Pangalawa, yung duktong kasi, like if you are in the ICU, dapat i-maintain kasi yung temperature nun at saka yung humidity para yung union ng dalawang like for example kamatis sa tatlong ay maganda. Kasi kung hindi yun maganda yung pagkaduktong niya, mamamatay din siya. So mataas yung mortality mo. So it's I think it's better to buy than investing on grafted seedlings. I mean, it's good to learn, yeah. It's really simple, but it really needs a skill and some what we call the grafting chamber to yung i-continue yung union ng dalawang crop. So, and then what are the challenges and learnings did you, as a company, it's really difficult for seedlings, for example, yung season nagbabago. So, for example, during the first quarter of the year after the typhoon, ang taas ng benta. Pero this season, na late yung ulan. So, sobrang dry. So, yung farmer, hindi siya makakapagtanim ng walang kasi marami pa din tayong areas which is rain-fed areas na hindi makakapagtanim. So it's really difficult for us na yung changing climate condition, nakakaapekto yun sa amin na pa-produce. Yes, nagpo-produce pa din kami kasi hindi naman din namin, kailangan namin readily available kasi yun yung namin na pag naghanap si farmer sa amin, maibibigay namin yung gusto nilang itanim. So pero minsan, marami kaming waste kasi may farmer na hindi na din parang syempre pag mainit at mamamatay din, mas mahirapan sila mag-grow ng halaman. So hindi sila bibili, parang ganyan. So mas minsan pag mataas lalo na yung cost of inputs. Yun yung isa na challenges namin ngayon na pag mataas ang cost of inputs, si farmer magtatanim ng sarili niyang, siya na yung mag-grow ng sarili niyang seedlings. So that's also one of the problem now, and also the rise due to the Ukraine and Russian war, tumataas yung value ng fertilizer kaya bumababa din yung nagpo-produce ngayon ng I think most of the crop bumababa yung product yung nagtatanim, nag-i-invest kasi sobrang doble o triple ang fertilizer kaya ayun. So those yung mga challenges namin sa company but actually so also yung isa pang challenge namin is to maintain the quality. So syempre pag hindi mo maintain yung quality, si farmer lilipat sa iba. So mo na yon, opportunity for them, no? So dapat pag binigay nyo sa kanya, high standard yung quality para uulit siya ng order sa'yo. So yun yung talagang mini-maintain namin as a company din, na i-maintain yung quality ng aming seedlings. Kasi yun yung different namin sa ibang nurseries. And also yung aming after sale service, nasa iba wala eh, basta makabenta lang. So sa amin kasi very important na syempre mag-feedback si farmer ano nangyari nito, even though hindi na yung problem ng seedlings eh, nasa growing air, magpas niya na yung growing ano niya, na hindi na talaga problem na, pero tinutulungan namin sila para kasi mafe-feel ni farmer na kahit ako bumili sa kanya, pag may nangyari sa tanim ko, merong tutulong sa akin para maka-recover. So that's the one
right.
And for the vegetable companies.
Yes. So Jill, baka may sagot rin kayo on paano yung Ramgo naman? Paano kayo nag-educate ng ating mga farmers?
Sure. Especially for introducing new varieties, diba?
Yes.
We have people on the field. We call them our demand creation specialists. So they grow with the farmers also. We always say that experience is a better teacher, diba? Yung ating mga grower at farmer naman talaga sila yung mga mahaba at malaki na yung mga experience nila in growing. So our people grow with them. Challenges and learnings, challenges like Ms. Jo mentioned, syempre yung mga increasing cost of inputs, not only for seeds but for fertilizers, pesticides, and insecticides, no? Kasama yan. Also, the seed quality and the stock management issues. So yun, in seed stocks then we need to have it all the time kasi yung demand in the market is all year round demand for most of the seeds that we have. So yeah, keeping it keeping all the stocks in high quality and available at all times. Yun talaga.
Yes. And alam ko, Jill, nagtantanim rin kayo doon sa area namin dati, sa farm namin. Naalala ko, naka-ref yung seeds nyo sa nursery namin.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Just to maintain the quality, yes, tama.
Yes.
Medyo high, mataas kasi yung value. So, yeah.
Yes. So, yun. Another thing with Ramgo. So, let us go to our last question since we are running very short on time. To all the speakers, what made you pursue careers in agri? Nako. So, Dayan, baka you wanna start naman?
Yeah. Actually, OCROP really started during the height of the pandemic lang, no, nung 2020. Our reasons in starting OCROP is very personal actually. It's really because of the pandemic. If you would check nung 2021 then and starting 2019 pa lang, one of the top killers talaga na sa Philippines is yung diabetes. And then yung mga relatives din namin, we also have diabetics in the family. That's why we really started to look for alternatives sa white rice. Kasi yung white rice, of course, diba yung iba na nagda-diet, kunwari magsiswitch sila to other grains, hindi napapanindigan. Kasi if you start your diet, parang hinahanap mo yung taste ng white rice, diba? Kasi dun ka nasanay. So usually, hindi nasusustain yung, if mag-healthier lifestyle sila, hindi siya nasusustain. So that's where we discovered Adlai. So when we tried Adlai, we realized that, in terms of taste pala and texture, it's really closer to white rice compared to brown rice, compared to quinoa. That's why we started from there, yung personal experiences namin. And then we started growing Adlai sa farm in Pampanga. That's why si OCROP, diba usually hindi naman nag-grow ng Adlai sa Luzon part, parang madalang. So we tried there, and then actually the rest is history eh. Kasi when we put na yung Okrap Adlay in the market, a lot of people were very curious and interested na, oh, ganito yung itsura niya, para din siyang white rice. And then, yeah, we started with e-com muna kasi of course we have low yields pa noon eh. Hindi pa gamay masyado yung farming and everything. And then through the months talagang nag-expand, and a lot of people really showed their curiosity and they really want to try the brand. And yeah, currently now, very successful naman siya. We have subscriptions now. So we're very happy that a lot of our customers are really sustaining naman yung healthy lifestyle type na we really want them to do. Kasi nga, di ba, mahirap din talaga na mag-switch sa hindi white rice, especially Pinoys. Hindi mawawala talaga ang kanin. But yeah, there, for Okrap talaga yun.
Right, all right. So, Jill, baka may sagot ka rin. Paano ka nagsimula sa agri? Matagal na rin kayo.
Alright, me personally or the company? Yeah, the company actually matagal-tagal na, more than 50 years na in the business. Like I've mentioned, for Ramgo's background. So the father of my boss, Ms. Pamela Chan, was the one who founded Ramgo International Corporation. He's a Filipino-Chinese actually. So kasi nakita niya nga yung need ng mga Filipino farmers. I think they started in Divisoria. That's why yung mga, di ba, yung mga nagbabagsak ng mga gulay coming from Benguet, ganyan, they're looking for reliable seed source at the most economical price. So that's where we started. But personally, I graduated agriculture at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. Before, I thought it sounds cool, diba? But I think it is still cool right now. So that's why I'm still doing agriculture, practicing my degree here in Ramgo and helping the farmers.
Right. So matagal na rin tayo magkasama dyan. So, Jo, paano paano kayo nagsimula sa agri?
Guru, personally for me, I pursue agriculture, same with Ma'am Gia. I'm also graduated agriculture in UPLB, and
Oy, mga Los Baños pala.
agriculturist, yes, in profession. Actually, I have many experiences. I started working on mango and then rice, in-field rice, and then moved to vegetable growing kasi parang interest. My family actually is a background is in farming, and my father is a farmer. So that's interests me to pursue the career in agriculture, but specific on the plant diseases kasi it's one of that talaga yung nagre-reduce ng yield ng halaman. So it's really interesting, and I love science, so it's really interesting to know what the pathogens, what's the effect, how to control, like that. Or sobrang napaka-interesting nung plant pathology as a profession. Pero when I moved in the vegetable, napunta ako sa iba't ibang division until nag-product development ako hanggang sa nandito sa seeding. So parang nandun yung heart ko to hear from the farmer, kasi sabi nga ng aming founder, be friends to the farmer. So parang I was given a chance actually to travel abroad also, not only in local. Kaya nalaman ko how farmer is struggling also, yung mga challenges nila, ganyan So East West started actually with our si Simon Grove and one was that seed man named Benito Domingo. So doon nag-start, kaya siya East West kasi they bring the cultivation practice from the west to east sa atin. So that's why they East West. And the Farm Ready came out because of the problem of the farmer on growing seeds. So that's why they call it Farm Ready.
Right. So thank you for that history ng and of course, pati pag tayo nagtatanim, memoryado mo kung ano yung sakit ng tanim natin.
So thank you, Jo. And then personally, for me naman, I started pursuing a career in agriculture back when I was a freshman in college as an environmental scientist. So nung bata pa lang ako, alam kong I already knew na I wanted to do something with food. So gusto ko nung una maging chef. Gusto ko maging celebrity chef naman. Tsaka mapakain yung mga nagugutom. And especially, malnutrition is a very prominent issue all over the world. So, na-realize ko na, anak ko, grabe naman. We have to feed the world. We really have to deliver food to people. Diba? Food security is a growing issue that we still have to address today. And it's still growing and we still don't have the perfect answer to it. So kami naman, ako naman, I started in agri because of that passion, because of that thought. And then naisip ko na, uy, magaling naman ako sa chemistry, magaling naman ako sa biology, mahilig ako sa science, kagaya ni Jo. So I ended up in research and researching into food systems, agricultural systems, how to grow your vegetables and everything. Grabe, ang daming kailangan pa nating matutunan. We still have to learn a lot, and this is something that we have been doing for since the start of civilization. I believe na lahat ng civilization sa mundo nagsimula sa agriculture. Lahat ng developing countries, all of the developing countries, including America, including Europe, really started with an agricultural revolution before they were able to grow their economy and before they were able to grow their society into a developed country. So I believe that this is really the backbone of not only the Philippines, but any civilization will have agriculture and food systems as their backbone. So, of course, working closely with sila Farm Ready, East West, Ramgo, Raikzuan, OCROP, they're all very important players and very important part of the agricultural system and the food system that we have in the Philippines. And we have to definitely start locally. We definitely have to start locally to grow our agriculture para gumanda naman yung society natin. Kasi kahit anong magyari sa ating bansa, basta tayo'y may pagkain at saka may agriculture, mabubuhay tayo. Diba? So, all of these companies that have joined us today are key players and very important players before, now, and in the future for our agriculture system. So I'm very happy to work with all of them, with sila Diane, with sila Jo, and sila Jill, sila Pepoy, and the others. This is something that Filipinos have to really keep close to our hearts. So yung agriculture ay sinasabi natin na we are an agricultural country. Kailangan natin mahalin ang ating agriculture industry and kailangan nating malaman kung saan nanggagaling yung ating mga tanim, which is mostly galing kila Ramgo, kila East West. Tsaka ngayon growing sila OCROP. So that is why I started in agriculture naman. And of course, furthering this, yung Mebuyans Colony ni Leroy is a very wonderful vehicle and a very beautiful vehicle that brought us all together, whether we're in competition or kahit na iba yung aming mga thoughts and practices sa agriculture. And kahit na ibang segment kami ng market ng agriculture and ng food production system, I really thank Leroy for bringing us all together. And I think this is how wonderful art is, that we could actually bring, even though we are from different sides of the food production system, we're still able to work together to come up with a very beautiful showcase of the Philippine agricultural system. So I would want to give I would like to invite Ma'am Boots again, the director and chief curator of Ateneo Art Gallery, to give the closing remarks. And thank you again, Ma'am Boots, for having all of us. Take it away.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Felix, Diane, Jo, Jill, and Pepoy, for this afternoon's very engaging conversation, sharing your experience and advice on planting and agriculture. I'm sure kung nag-notes tayong lahat, magkakaroon tayo ng magandang garden sa ating, vegetable garden sa ating mga bahay. So thank you also to the attendees who sent their questions that drew out very insightful answers. We look forward to a better future for Philippine agriculture, especially after May 9. We were hoping that our guest artist, our featured artist, Leroy New, would be able to join us, but for sure, he will be with us for our next event on May 18, that is in celebration of the International Museums Day. We are planning an on-site event. We hope to be able to receive guests during that day, and we have been coordinating, working with our sponsors, Ramgo Farm Ready and Oak Crop, for the eventual harvest that day. So they've actually planted some vegetables, a new batch of vegetables in Leroy's installation, which will be ready for harvest on May 18. And so we look forward that we hope you can join us. If not on site, we will make sure to have the event accessible online. So thank you again. We also are, we would like to invite you to visit the Ateneo Art Gallery. We are open, we are receiving guests. Apart from Leroy's outdoor installation, we have several exhibitions that are equally engaging. The most recent one we opened last Tuesday, Pio Abad's exhibition, Fear of Freedom Makes Us See Ghosts. It's a very engaging and very relevant exhibit that we hope you visit. Reminders to visit us, you are requested to file a campus to reserve your visit, no? At least 2 days before the planned date. So you have the bit.ly there, the link and the QR code. You can also access this through our Facebook page and website. So we hope to see you in the coming days. Thank you and good day.